Hi there, Z here, and yes, I know, okay? Before you start typing your comments, I know, I've already done a review on this. I've seen it. I see it in my video manager. I got it. I know I did it, and it wasn't that long ago that I did one here, but I got a good reason. You have to let me defend myself. There's a good reason for me to do this. I have to get famous somehow, am I right? Or am I right? And if that means I need to do reviews on this game, if I need to do crazy funniest PUBG montages, I'll do that. I'll do commentaries with the PUBG gameplay in the background. I will do anything to support my crippling alcohol addiction and my recent stint into the land of oxycodone. I will lie to my viewers. I will steal from the police, and I will bring the hammer of God down on those snooty pharmacy agents for another sweet bump of my oxycodone. I have a good reason to do this review, of doubling up on these reviews. I have a great reason. It's there. Fuck. There's a good reason for me to doubling up on these reviews. The previous review only had a measly 10 hours, and it was an initial thought that I had at the time. Now that I have over 100 hours with this game, I would like to go more into details, and some details that I may have missed before. Look at camera while saying, now join me for another episode of Should You Waste Your Time On. Did I do good? Can I get my oxycodone? Well, here we go, folks, jumping onto another bandwagon yet again. But in all seriousness, I really have taken quite a liking to this game. I've enjoyed this game so much, it's been part of really most of my streams of late. I've convinced my little amount of friends, my little roster of dudes, to go out and buy a copy, and I've thrown in so many hours into this game that if it were a woman, I would be considered stalking her. But is it for a good reason? Does this game subjectively have that much time that you can waste on it and it will still be fun, or do all of the active millions of players suffer from extreme autism? Well, let's go right into this and see if this game really is as fun and if you would find it equally addicting. Not as addicting as oxycodone. That's another thing. First thing to think about when sitting in the plane listening to the absolutely cancerous community is where to fall on the map. And after playing this for many hours, there are kind of two options that you're left with. Will you go to the countryside where you have to worry about maybe one or two people, if that, go to the surrounding buildings and just kind of go from every single isolated building after that, or maybe you'll be willing to try a butt-fucking shit show. Yeah, a sort of real shit show where you look up at the sky and you realize, wow, there's a lot more parachutes than there is sky. This doesn't really seem like an important part of the game, but the location says a lot about the kind of gameplay experience that you want. Are you not really a super confident person in your abilities and you want more time to kind of gather weapons and ammunition and armor before fighting other players, and also you wet the bed and you are an embarrassment to your family? Well, land on the countryside and look through a few houses before going into battle, you giant walking vagina. Or are you a hothead with adrenaline in your system as much as a 14-year-old and you are constantly looking for somebody to kill as soon as your feet hit the floor, you small, flaccid, non-working penis piece of shit? Well, then fly right into the large city or a high-priority weapon spawn like the gun range or a school and just watch as your percentage of winning immediately gets cut at least halfway. You know, I'm sure that there's a joke about schools and there being places with guns and shootings, but I just can't get it. I just don't know how to combine all of them together without offending somebody. Now, as soon as you hit the ground, the real test of skill comes into play. The most skilled part of this game, which would determine if you will survive 1 second or 1 hour. And that type of skill is, well, it's not really a skill because it's all dumb luck. Dumb fucking luck. You could fly to the same area at every single building every single time because, hey, that one time I found that sniper rifle there with an 8-time scope, and that one time I was just destroying children left and right. But All hail the god of random spawns, because he can giveth a sniper rifle with one hand, and because he's an absolute cunt. No, seriously, like, on Mount Olympus, nobody liked him. You invite him to a house party, and he just changes the bowls of pretzels into scarab beetles, and, like, ice-cold beer into room temperature beer. He really is a dick. But he could give you a sniper rifle with one hand, or a pistol with no ammunition with the other. Yes, he's one of those gods. So in this game, you better be on his side. Because you could either be blessed with an assault rifle, or he might feel generous enough to give you a crowbar you could curl up and die with. But let's just say you've made it out of the city with whatever weapons you were able to scavenge, and you didn't die to the horde of squeakers and heavy racial slurs. Which is pretty impressive, because you'll soon realize that you'll lose so many times you'll feel like a games journalist, and boy, that's really fucking depressing. But let's say you survived your initial landing, scavenged all the things that you needed, and are heading for the next group of buildings. Like I've mentioned before in my other review, running from place to place is just simply riveting. So yes, there is a lull in the gameplay with only the threat of sniper fire to keep you on your toes. And unless you're a streamer, that's a good place to start conversating with your stream. Yeah, definitely. But it can get boring when you are by yourself because you are lonely and sad. But Zach, I hear the PUBG player screeching. Find a vehicle, you can move from place to place faster. It's just that simple. Well, thanks a lot for explaining to me what a vehicle does. You know, I've always had issues on that question on my fucking driving exam. But the downside to that is, yeah, you might as well be running around screaming,
I'm a fucking retarded moron.
Look at me!
Driving in this game diverts all the attention to you more than running around naked through a grizzly bear reserve coated in steak sauce and fucking melted cheese. And sure, it's harder to hit a moving target, but you get enough people shooting at you, and guess what? It won't matter. You can withstand the bullets because your car's taking all the damage, but not the explosion that quickly happens afterwards. The only time I would ever suggest a car is if you're playing with friends, so you could just shoot back at them whenever they're shooting at you initially, because this game, it's not GTA, and your character is so dedicated on being just the most perfect driver ever, with 2 hands, 10 and 2 on the steering wheel, eyes diverted directly to the road with absolutely no chance of returning fire, and his brain matters all over the fucking dash.
I don't really feel comfortable with people knowing about my pepperoni nipples, Jordan. I mean,
Which brings me to my next little hint that I may have for you guys. I know being gamers, your friend roster is pretty bare. You know, it's pretty small, pretty limited. But if you can manage to convince, I don't know, the homeless man to play this game, or train your dog to somehow play computer games with you, then it's way more fun. First off, in a team game, the one person who gets shot enough times, they fall down like old bitches on those life call commercials.
I've fallen, and I can't get up!
And if your partner comes along before your health slowly ticks down to nothing, they can help you back up, you know, before y'all die anyways.
Austin, I believe in you! Don't let Jordan be the one who wins this! Oh, man. Right,
Jordan's gonna win.
Where the hell's Jordan? We need to find out. Look at him! He's looking up at the sky like he has a mental disorder.
But it's a nice of the game to promote teamwork. And secondly, it's always great to mock and degrade people around you so you don't have to take a look at the stark reality that you've created for yourself and have that sudden realization that you may never get good at this game. Ever. But overall, yes, this game is absolutely worth your time. The randomness of the items keeps things interesting enough, and with a map as big as this, you have plenty of spots to either take it easy or as difficult as you want, depending on your gameplay style, like I mentioned before. And sure, there are things like the server lag that's fucking unbelievable at times, but it's still in early development, and with how many concurrent users that they have, it's really understandable that they'll need more time to perfect all this stuff. And the community is a piece of shit, but this is the internet, so who really fucking cares? That's what the mute button's for, right? And yeah, running from house to house can be tedious, but that all depends on where you start and what your battle plan is. If you're going out to the countryside, just be prepared to listen to some silence. Do you want to constantly be on your toes? Then just stick to the cities. If you want to gear up before fighting, stay outside the cities. It's really simple. If you're looking for a good shooting strategy game and don't want the cancer known as Call of Duty, at least keep an eye on this and get it if you feel like it's best for you. And if you want to know more about this game, just go ahead and check out my previous review where I go into a little bit more details, please, I need those views. I need my Oxyco. And you'll soon be hooked as soon as you get to the top 10 and you're just there. You're almost there. You feel like you're gonna win. You're getting to the top 4, the top 3, the top 2, and... No!